Hello, fellow Murdlers. Today is Monday, March 4th, 2024, and it's a great day to solve a murder. Today we have the carefully prepared, I'm reading this as dish or fish murder, and we've got 3 4x4 grids, so a little easier for a Monday. We've got 4 suspects, 4 weapons, and 4 locations, and we need to find out who was where with what. All right, let's go ahead and flip over our suspect cards. We have Lord Lavender, Vice President Mauve, Grandmaster Rose, and Dean Glaucus today. Our weapons are toxic blowfish, a steering wheel, a steak knife, and an ancient anchor. The locations are the deck, the engine room, the lifeboat, and the captain's quarters. All right, so looking at our clues and evidence, we do see that we have a final murder clue here today, which means we won't have any statements to look through. So a carefully prepared dish or fish was found beside the world's richest man. So this is telling us not something about the cards yet, so much as it is saying this is by the world's richest man. So that just tells us this is the victim and this is the weapon, I'm assuming. So let's look at the weapons real quickly. I think it's pretty obvious it's the toxic blowfish, but we see here the prepared carefully. So that's our murder weapon today. So maybe it wasn't prepared carefully enough. All right, so toxic blowfish. And so now we just need to figure out who and where, and we're going to use our grid to do that. So let's go ahead and dive in. The second shortest suspect and the person who brought a steak knife had a history together. So these clues can be kind of tricky, but all they're telling us really is that whomever the second shortest suspect is, they did not have a steak knife. So let's go ahead and check through our suspects. Lord Lavender is 5'9", Vice President Mauve is 5'8", Grandmaster Rose is 5'7", and Dean Glaucus is 5'6". So that means that Grandmaster Rose is the second shortest, and they did not bring a steak knife. So let's go ahead and find the intersection between Grandmaster Rose and a steak knife, and we'll put an X there because they did not bring that weapon. Okay, Moss was seen outdoors. Let's go ahead and look through our weapons here. This one, no. We're looking not only in the description, but also in the made of. That can also be informative for this clue. No. Here we go, it's covered in moss. So that's our clue. We've got the ancient anchor, and we know that it was outside. So let's flip through our locations real quickly. I'm guessing a few of these are outside. Okay, the deck is outdoors. The engine room is indoors. The lifeboat is outdoors. And the captain's quarter is indoors. So what we know is that this ancient anchor was not in either of the indoor locations. So we can go ahead and put X's there. But we also know that it was outdoors. So let's put question marks here because it had to be in one of these two. All right, moving on to our third clue. Lord Lavender was seen hanging around in the lifeboat. Okay, so there's the lifeboat under Lord Lavender. And what we're doing here again is we're just saying that we know for sure Lord Lavender was in the lifeboat, which means we also know for sure that he was not in any of the other locations and that none of the other suspects were in the lifeboat. That's how we have this like kind of cross section of X's. Whoever was on the deck had a medium weight weapon. Okay, so let's go back to weapons. We've got lightweight, medium weight. Okay, so steering wheel, we'll flag that one. Lightweight and heavyweight. So only the steering wheel is that medium weight that we're looking for, and that was on the deck. So let's go ahead and cross this off. We've got the steering wheel and the deck. So we're gonna go to that weapons and locations quadrant here. Go ahead and cross that off, and this also gives us the information we need for this clue. So now we know that the anchor was not on the deck. It was in one of 2 outdoor locations, so it must have been here in the lifeboat, which also means that Lord Lavender had the anchor. So a lot of information here. I'm just going to go ahead and fill out the grid here with our X's. All right, great. Okay. So now we've got an anagram puzzle. So Grandmaster Rose was seen beside a loud engine. Okay, we've got the engine room. So that's going to tell us that Grandmaster Rose was in the engine room. And because we know that Grandmaster Rose was in the engine room, we also know more information about Grandmaster Rose's weapons. So for instance, we know that Grandmaster Rose could not have been on the deck because that would force them to need to have the steering wheel, but they have they must have something else. So let's put an X for the steering wheel, and that does tell us that Grandmaster Rose is our murderer today. And this does actually give us the solve. So we have Grandmaster Rose with the poison blowfish in the engine room. So let's go ahead and mark that in. And we're also still going to just continue building out the grid for fun. Grandmaster Rose, toxic blowfish, engine room. Okay, so that's our solve for today. But we've got one more clue. Dean Glaucus had not been in the captain's quarters. So we've got Dean Glaucus in the captain's quarters. So that then tells us that Dean Glaucus must have been on the deck with the steering wheel. And that Vice President Mauve must have had the kitchen knife or the steak knife in the captain's quarters. So let's go ahead and finish this out here too. All right, there is our full grid for today. Oop, yeah, that's right. Got confused for a second, but no, that looks good. All right, so we have Grandmaster Rose, a toxic blowfish, the engine room. Let's make our accusation. And we were right. Awesome. Thanks so much for playing along with me today. I hope this was a helpful walkthrough, and we'll see you tomorrow.